So it's going to be our first ever All Grit podcast.
Yeah.
You excited, right?
I'm nervous and excited. Yeah.
But now we're telling you to talk.
Yeah. I know. I normally talk like way too much. I disrupt class when I'm not coaching. I could literally talk to everyone or a brick wall for an hour.
But then yell at me when I'm talking and you're coaching, because that's fair.
I know. Look, shout out to Miguel, the only coach that has told me to sit down in my own gym in a class that I was not coaching. I was like, yes, sir, respectfully. I have to do it.
All right. So real quick for everybody that listens, which I'm sure to start will just be people that we know. We're doing this just for fun. Figure that first one. Really what we're going to kind of focus on is just talking about Melissa, and you get to talk about yourself. Yep.
Yes.
Kind of like where you started, your dreams and aspirations as far as CrossFit go, not just as an athlete, but as a gym owner too, and where you want to see this place go and all that happy stuff, okay? Hey, if we get enough viewers too, we might make money off it. So we have to try not to curse too much, okay?
I will try not to curse too
With
much.
your potty mouth, okay? All right, so hopefully everything records and we don't just have to redo the whole thing.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
I would be sweating bullets.
I can.
Oh, God.
I'd probably forget it.
Yeah, I don't care
Forget
anymore.
it.
This is stupid.
Yeah, I'm not doing this no more. So, all right, so let's just start out this way. For I know everybody knows you as Melissa. You're the owner, but kind of just give everybody, let's talk about like who you are, where you're from, just kind of the basics if you were introducing yourself to anybody.
All right. Well, Melissa Peebles Houff. My social security number is, no, just kidding.
Nice.
Yeah.
Credit cards.
Your credit cards, yeah. Don't worry, you're not getting much from me right now. It's all in debt. But only child.
Really?
Yeah. My parents, just loved me so much that they didn't need another. My mom might tell you that I was a handful.
You were enough.
Yeah, that was plenty. Grew up right outside of Wilmington, North Carolina. Was there till about freshman year of high school. My parents are in real estate, so obviously after the market tanked in 2008, things had to kind of change. So they got an opportunity to move to right outside of Hilton Head. Moved there from my freshman year going into my sophomore year of high school. How great, like hitting puberty and not knowing anyone and moving high schools.
Yeah.
But it worked out fine. I have like some of my best friends still from high school. So from there, went to Virginia Tech for construction. It was either Virginia Tech or Clemson. And this might be something that a lot of people here in Virginia don't know about me, but I'm like a diehard Duke basketball fan.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love Duke.
but there's certain sports that I think like basketball, you could be from
Anywhere.
But you become a Duke fan or a Tar Heel fan because you like basketball or
Yeah.
whatever, which.
I mean, I love Coach K. I mean, you like who your parents like, too.
Yeah.
It's not like, I went out and studied and was like, I like Duke.
Well, it's easy, too, because they're always probably, and I'm not a huge basketball fan, but still, Duke is that team that, like, they're always potentially good.
Oh, yeah.
So it was easy growing up as a kid, and your dad's watching just to be the fan of them.
To be cool. Yeah,
Right.
you're like, it's cool to like Duke.
It's like I could knock on the Patriots fan because there's so many Patriots fans right now that they're only fans because when they were little kids,
Yeah, their parents
their
watched
their
Brady.
Patriots were
Yeah.
you're right, or they just watched them because they were good.
Yeah.
and their dad's pissed because
Yeah.
their dad's not a Patriots fan, right?
Yeah, it's so true.
All right, so why why Virginia Tech?
So, between Clemson and Virginia Tech, they both had good construction schools. But taking it back to Duke, I went to Duke a lot as a kid for camps, and the campus is very, like, medieval as far as, like, they all use limestone for their buildings. It's very, 18th century kind of looking. And when I pulled up to Tech, one of my parents' bosses was like, you should go to Tech for a football game for a weekend. Just see how you like it. We literally pulled onto the campus one night, like 9:30 at night on a Friday, and I saw the buildings and the architecture was very similar to Duke, and I was like, I'm going to Tech. Didn't apply anywhere else. Thankfully got in.
Yeah.
And never looked back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
And you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I love construction too. I love the major and the friends and everything that happened at Tech.
And your major was in construction management?
Building construction.
Building construction.
Yeah,
Okay.
Same thing, yeah.
Okay. And I think I had talked to you about this. There's not a lot of women in that field, is there?
No, my graduating class I was one of 3, and
No
one
shit.
of my best friends was one of the people in that class.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you mind telling us how old you are now?
I'm 30.
Okay, so you're 30 years old. So you became a gym owner, we'll say, what, seven or 8 months ago?
Yep.
So you did that from the time you graduated college until now.
Yep.
You did that
About
the whole
8
time.
years.
All right.
Yep.
Did you like it?
I really like construction in the sense of planning, logistics. Like, you're solving a problem. Pretty much every day you go in to solve a problem, whether the overall problem is building the job. And then you have little problems each day, obviously. But that's the stuff that's fun to me, is like cracking down on something, figuring it out, making it better, quicker. All of those things I really, really enjoyed. What I didn't enjoy is the fact that you get a prize for like who's the most worked and who's there the latest. Can you be there on the weekends? And not that I'm saying I wouldn't do anything for my job, because I definitely would, but I don't work to live. Or I guess I don't live to work. I work to live. So
like, you got to have limits. Like,
yeah,
I need a day off.
I need, and I hate playing like the woman card, but it's just different for women.
Yeah. I'm sure it's a good old boys club too, to a certain extent.
Which I can hold my own with the best. Like, I definitely pride myself in that. But like, at the end of the day, I'm looking at men in all these positions above me, and they don't have to worry about having a kid. They don't have to be worried about, going on maternity leave. Their wife has a baby and they're back in 2 weeks, and they can move pretty much anywhere, because most of their significant others either don't work or like nurses or teachers. And it's like, I have to think about a lot of other things. And quite frankly, I just want to be able to be present in my kids' lives when that happens. And I didn't see construction being able to give me that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that pretty much gets you to here, and
Yeah.
you as a gym owner now, and we'll circle back to that. So I guess it's only fair I do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Where I'm from. All right. So everybody here at the gym knows me, but my name's Chris, and originally I was born in Modesto, California.
I didn't know
which,
that. Okay.
Little tidbit is that's where George Lucas is from. And I am a Star Wars nerd, so that all like.
I was about to ask, who is George Lucas?
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm dead serious. I'm sorry.
Oh boy, no, it's okay.
I know, it's not my thing.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah. Well, like my son he loves it just as much as I do. But
Yeah.
Paige has never watched a single Star Wars movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm with her. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, pretty much born and raised in Modesto, and lived in a couple different towns, like when I was a little kid, that half of them I don't remember. But ultimately, after parents got divorced and figuring all that out, I ended up growing up, I'd say, since I was I think it was 5th grade, in a town called Ceres, which is the next town south of Modesto. Total small farming town that was just kind of like that urban sprawl, kind of like what Suffolk is becoming around here, right? And went to high school, into elementary, middle school. Well, we call it junior high out there. It's only 7th and 8th grade. It's different in the communist California.
Oh, gosh.
And I can say that because I'm from there,
Yeah, I was
so
gonna
I
say, you're
can
from
talk
there.
crap about the state. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm from there. Graduated high school, joined the Navy. Pretty much, my dad said, "You're either doing that or you're doing that. There's like no option."
No option.
Yeah. And, I mean, he meant well by it. I wasn't a bad kid, but
Yeah.
like everybody
Push
thought
the
I was a
limits.
good kid, and I blame my dad because his rules were do what you want, don't get caught.
Well,
right?
I mean, he kind of
So-
opened that up for himself,
right.
then.
And I think I only got arrested twice in high school, both minor
Okay.
offenses,
Yeah,
dumb
yeah.
dumb things. They're
Dumb stuff.
probably stupid, funny stories now.
Yeah.
And well, it has to be because my dad laughs about it now.
Yeah.
And then so I never really thought about the Army. I talked to them, but anyway, I joined the Navy, and I remember I told my dad, I said, "But I'm not going to be on a ship." He goes, "You joined a freaking Navy. How are you not going to be
gonna
on
say,
a
what do you
ship?"
mean you're not gonna be
I
on a
said, "You
ship?"
watch. I'm going to join." And so no joke, long story short, I was never like ship's company. I was on small boats,
Nice.
so I was just like,
Kind of rotating back and forth.
kind of work with the Marines, and
Yeah.
so I was like paid for my potential out there all the time, and still deployed 7 times, and
Yeah.
So anyway, did 30 years in the military, and I actually was stationed the first part of my career in California, and decided
Nice.
time to go. So in 2005, I moved out here to Virginia, and been here ever since.
Yeah.
So and then just retired 5 months ago.
Yeah.
So
Living the dream.
Yes, living the dream. So, yeah, and now I'm coaching for you at your gym. And I have another real job too. So
A real job.
I still have
wait.
I
Coaching
still
is a
have
real job.
Right, I still have a big boy job.
Yeah, you
but
still have something that pays the bills because coaching does not.
Yeah, no, it does not. It does not.
Well, thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
30
that.
years is a long time. That's like, I mean, that's literally my life right now.
Yeah, people
so.
ask me 30 years, like, did you lose a bet? I'm like, actually, I didn't know. I didn't. It just kind of worked out that way because at every point where you start to think, like, maybe I'll retire now, I'd get promoted. I got promoted. I'm like, okay, well, I got to stay X amount of years to maximize my retirement. And then I'm like, maybe I should, hey, here you got promoted again. And then you start looking at numbers. You're like,
well, if I stay this much longer.
Yeah. Well, and it worked out good, too, because honestly, the twins graduated high school last summer or, last June. And then I retire 6 months later. So it was kind of perfect timing, like to like get them through that part of life. Yeah. And then it was a good transition that way for timing wise. So, but all right. So
that's cool. I didn't know you were on the West Coast.
Yeah, I was.
Which one do you like better?
East Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's a lot of reasons, but so it's weird. Like we can go on this whole thing of what the problems are in California, but we don't want no politics in the freaking CrossFit gym, right?
Yeah.
But it's just I actually like it out here more. I think there's more diversity with people, and I'm not talking about like color or anything like that. Like I feel like out here people are they're just nicer. They're cooler. Like I can think back to when I was moving out here, right? And the difference in attitude is I went from the West Coast, traveling cross country, where like you got to a certain, like I got to like Texas and we're driving through Texas and I stopped somewhere to get something and I walked through and somebody held the door for me.
And you're like,
like California, they almost like kick the door at you. So,
oh my gosh, that's how I grew up. I love that.
Yeah, and then like I was like, oh wow. So then I kind of reciprocated that.
Yeah.
And then somebody's like, "Oh, thank you, sir." I'm like, "Ooh,
wow,
never been called sir." So, yeah, and I think it was definitely a better place to raise the kids too. And I always felt welcomed here from the get-go. Like, I started coaching youth football not long after I was here when my son was old enough, and just people just embraced you to it, and you learn a lot.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but and the gun laws are better here too. As you know, because your husband loves guns too.
Yeah, there's a small feature. The gun laws are much nicer.
So I'm prepared to start my own militia whenever ready. Whenever the apocalypse happens.
Yeah. So. I'm not worried about it at my house or your house.
Right. We can start a compound. Yeah. So, all right. So we got a little background on us. So let's kind of delve deep into. We'll go right to. So you go to Virginia Tech. At what was that when you during college is when you discovered CrossFit?
Yeah, so very briefly, and I love to tell this story because Sam makes me very mad. Sam's my husband, for anyone that doesn't know. I'll probably mention his name in vain and not in vain several times across this podcast.
Don't pick on Sam. I like Sam.
No, I love him. He's the best. But yeah, in college, I played softball all through high school and travel ball, and then I got to college and played club softball. Well, it just got really hard with my major to do that anymore because we traveled a bunch. So I was like, I need to do something that's like slightly competitive. I like to work out. I want to be fit. And I found this CrossFit gym in Blacksburg. At the time, it was pretty expensive for a college student. And my boyfriend, Sam, before we were married, was like, CrossFit's so stupid. They just get hurt.
Let me guess. He was at the Globo gym, right?
Yeah, like bro lifting.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to like be embarrassing to this guy. I don't want to look stupid in front of my new boyfriend. So I never started. And I literally tell him all the time, I'm like, I could have been at the games by now, Sam. If you'd have just let me start in college.
Right.
So fast forward, like years after I graduated, probably 4 years after I graduated, we went to Northern Virginia to visit one of his buddies who had gotten into CrossFit. We went for one Saturday workout, and he was like, my whole goal was to make Sam puke. And I was there, and I was like, I love this. Like, instantly kind of took to kipping pull-ups, and the movements came a lot easier for me. And when we left, I was like, I'm finding a CrossFit gym. Like, this was meant for me.
What do you think? What part of it was it that, like, grabbed you right away?
I liked the camaraderie of everyone, and I just felt good moving. I did like bro lifting and stuff. I did squats, 2 times a week, arms, back and by, all that crap.
Back, by, chest, try, skip, leg day.
Yep. I was like, I don't know. That's all that people taught you, I guess.
Yeah, that's all we knew.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm just gonna do this, and it wasn't fulfilling. Yes, I was like in shape, and then I started running because I was like, well, I need to have some sort of cardio. And CrossFit put that all together, and I was like, okay, this is really freaking good. Like, I'm pretty good at it, and I've just started. Let me find a gym. And the stars aligned. When I was working in Williamsburg for my construction job, the gym was right across the street. So I would see these people running in the middle of the day, and I'm like, I'm going to go try the CrossFit gym. And immediately got in there. Draken CrossFit was my very first CrossFit gym, and did my like couple of days of like movement assessment, and like took off running, never looked back.
So what year was it in college that you tried it for the first time?
Oh, 2011.
So what year of college was that? Don't make me do math. I'll mess it up.
I was a junior.
A junior? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you were about halfway through college when you figured it out. Okay. So you know how I got suckered into CrossFit?
How? Did you lose a bet?
Kind of. I was drinking.
Oh my God.
Right.
Well, CrossFitters love to drink. So
Yes.
I don't blame you.
It all worked out. So, because I was actually on deployment, and this was in 2013, and we were in Jordan, right?
Nice.
And we were sitting there, and we couldn't go out in town because of security and all that. So we do what they call beer on the pier, and they just had all this beer out there. Well, one of the Marines I worked with, Brandon Millsaps, dude's a phenomenal athlete, and he would talk about CrossFit a lot. And before that, we'd make fun of him, right?
Yeah,
because
of
he
course,
was on the
that's
cover.
easy.
He was on. I don't remember if he was on the cover of Muscle and Fitness or he was in it though, because they had a right.
Yeah.
So they had an article about something with the Marine Corps and fitness. I should have looked up ahead of time, but it was like, their exercise regimen in the Marine Corps and what they do, right?
Which was very CrossFit based, from what I understand.
So every now and he'd get embarrassed of it because
Oh gosh.
Brandon honestly is like a badass. At one point he was like, and Brandon, if you're listening, I apologize. I'm misinterpreting what this was, but the dude was like, kind of like, he wasn't a professional UFC fighter, but I think he was a registered fighter. And like in the Marine Corps, he was like, a bad dude. Like, you don't mess with this guy, right? And but he was like, he's such just a mellow, nice guy, right? But he's fit, like doing CrossFit, and he would talk about it a lot. But every now and then somebody would get one of those magazines.
Oh gosh, and post it everywhere.
And put it out. And he'd be like, "Stop!" Like,
oh, you got to be proud of that.
Yeah, but every now and then he would, because I had never even friggin' heard of CrossFit,
Yeah,
right?
I'm sure, especially out there either.
Yeah, and one day we were just talking about it, and he's just kind of telling me about it. He's talking about like keto. He was telling a bunch of us in there about like eating, or not keto, I'm sorry.
The zone diet.
The zone diet,
that's
right?
the OG.
So he's talking about that. So then, because I was doing the north, I'd get up at like 3 a.m. on the ship to go down and work out, because that's the only time you can get in there and it's not jam-packed, right?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
And I guess it's small, too.
Oh,
You're not
it was
thinking about that.
tiny, so
Yeah.
you're pretty limited. And like, then they also like had a cardio room. You got some treadmills, and there was actually a couple rowers in there, but I didn't know crap about rowing at the time.
You're
right?
like, what are these things?
Right. I'm like, well, I don't know how to row. So every now and then he'd talk to me about it. So one night in Jordan, we're drinking and we're getting pretty tipsy, and he starts talking about CrossFit again.
Yeah,
and I literally,
hyped
and he
up.
kind of got me pumped up, and I'm like,
Okay.
fine, I'm doing it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. So I didn't do it the next day because
You
I
were
was
hungover.
Yeah. So, but anyway, when I finally did it within the next few days, I went down there and we had a spot cleared out where we store some vehicles and stuff, and he had a container that had like, a couple plyo boxes. He had barbells. He brought everything
That's
he kind of
so
needed,
cool.
right? But we had to do pull-ups from the pipes in the overhead.
So were you like
Yes.
like
The whole
monkey
time.
gripping? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's
so,
cool.
And I went and did one workout, kind of like you did, and I was hooked.
Yeah,
I'm
I love this.
I have not had my butt kicked like that,
Yeah.
and I don't know how long, but it was fun.
Yeah, it was a good time.
But we'd be down there for like 2 or 3 hours at a pop because there was only so much equipment, there was only so much space. So he'd put stuff together.
Working
we'd all
intervals
lift,
and-
kind of do the bro lifting, bro
Yeah.
sesh, and then he'd put together, a 10-minute Metcon of some kind or 12-minute, and we'd all cycle through. But the rule is that you don't leave until everybody's done.
Nice.
Right? Which
yeah,
is
that
cool
starts a
because-
community. Yeah.
Right. I mean, unless you had to go because, you
Right,
had
right.
something to do, but like it had to be legit. You couldn't just do your shit and take off.
Like, peace,
Yeah.
we're out.
Because if there were people that tried to do that, he'd tell them don't come back.
Really?
Yeah,
Good
he-
for
yeah, he
him.
didn't
I mean,
mess
that's
around.
part of the draw to CrossFit,
Yeah.
right? It's like that's what everyone says is
Yeah.
the community's the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah.
And it's a nice sign of respect.
And it was cool because he had another guy with him too, one of our medics, Nate Hoyland, who ironically owns his old gym now. Because
Nice.
Brandon and his wife own Sport of Fitness in Columbia, South Carolina.
Nice.
And
Okay.
Brandon Nate was just a really good coach, moves really well. He ended up buying Brandon's gym when he was done. I think
Yeah.
he sold it to him before he retired from the Marine Corps.
Nice.
And then Nate got out of the Navy worked for
that's
them.
cool.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my
Dang.
and then I started, so that got me hooked, and I came back from that deployment. I was
Yeah.
like, do shit on base on, I keep cursing. I'm going to have to beep all this stuff out.
Yeah. There's
Right.
like 15
Right.
bleeps.
Beep, 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 beep. So I did it on base because they have like a pseudo CrossFit gym there that you
Yeah.
can do stuff, but again, no coach. I started buying my own stuff, setting the garage up, doing my own. So I did that for a couple years because that would have been like 2014 when I got back that year.
Really?
So I did it for a while kind of on my own, and then
Yeah.
one day I was like, you know what? I got to go to an actual gym.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I just avoided all the things I was either scared to do or didn't know
didn't
how
like,
to do.
or you were bad at, yeah.
Exactly. You're skipping all the stuff you
cherry
suck at.
picking.
Right. Cherry pick everything. So then I eventually just joined a gym, and then that was it.
What was your first gym?
CrossFit Tidewater over in
Nice.
Chesapeake / Portsmouth.
Yeah.
So, which
Cool,
it's
cool.
not like a lot of gyms. It's not there no more. So,
Yeah,
and-
I know. It was funny because when we started opening here, I was like, a bunch of gyms were closing down, and I'm like, am I making the right decision?
Right,
Like, should I rethink this? I
yeah,
mean, I'm
but
too
they all
deep
came.
now.
They all came here.
Yeah, that is. I will say, God will work in mysterious ways because it was very nice for us, and hopefully, like we can at least continue the community that the gyms around us have had, even if they're not here. So.
Oh yeah, and yeah, you just got to keep doing the right thing. So,
Yeah.
all right. So when you left Virginia Tech, you and Sam graduated.
Yep.
Did you guys get married before you left college?
No. So when Sam graduated, he was a year ahead of me. He moved to Richmond, and then I was the year after. And they were like, "You can either go to Virginia Beach or you can go to D.C." I was like, "Easy. I'm going to Virginia Beach. I'm
Yeah.
not going up there." I know it's not the North, but that's Yankee land. I'm not going there. So I ended up in Virginia Beach for my first job, which was with Alan Myers. That's the company I started and finished with in construction. So it was like, I don't know.
So you and Sam worked for different companies. Okay.
I want to say it was like a couple years after I graduated, we got married. So I graduated in, it was a year and a half, 15, like early 15. And then got married in late 16. Yeah. So we were engaged in early 2016, bought our first house right before we got married, and then got married in October. Yeah. It was pretty, like a 6 to 8 month turnaround.
Well, was
Pretty
Sam
quick.
working down here right away too?
He was working in Richmond.
Okay.
And then whenever he knew that I was moving to Virginia Beach, he started looking for a job here.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
And
so-
has he been working for the same company the whole time?
No, he's bounced around a little bit. When you're out of college, right, you just take the first job that you can get that's close
Paycheck.
enough to, right,
Yeah.
I just need to make money. So he had a couple of jobs that were similar to that, just not the best jobs, but were easy, for lack of a better term, and like paid the bills. And then as he got into Virginia Beach and started like meeting people, that's how he networked and got
Gotcha.
to where he is now.
So how did you get Sam finally to decide he was going to do CrossFit?
Oh my gosh. So I would come home every day. So when I was in Williamsburg working for Alan Myers on the I-64 project, and I said that gym was across the street, like to avoid traffic coming home in the evening, I would go to the gym. So at 5 o'clock when I got done, I would just walk across the street, go work out, and then by the time I was done and I got home, the traffic was a lot less going through the tunnel and over the bridge every day. So this was like, I don't know, 6 or 8 months I've been doing CrossFit, and I come home and I'm just like, I love it, and I'm talking about it.
You won't shut up about it.
Of course I won't shut up, and like all I want to do is more CrossFit, and like I got him to come watch the Open. I got him to come to a couple of like Saturday community events, and he's dabbling in it, but he's just like, I don't know if it's for me. And then when I was done in Williamsburg, we were in Portsmouth, and I was trying to find a gym in Portsmouth. We had kind of taken a little bit of time in between gyms, and we found an Anytime Fitness that had like a mock CrossFit area. So we were both going there, and he would be like, hey, what are you doing today? I was like, I'm doing cleans, or I'm doing this. And he goes, okay. So I would see him. He wouldn't even work out with me. I would see him across the
He's
gym
just like
doing the same things. I'm like, okay. And then finally, once we found a gym that was like 3 minutes from our front door, which was my second gym, CrossFit Slice, I got him to come in, and it was like he was hooked as well.
So he didn't really start until you guys were down here, and he started at Slice.
Yep. Yeah.
Interesting.
He really liked it. I mean, everyone likes the feeling, if you're a competitive person anyway, and like you also don't want to think about what you're doing. Like, I don't have the energy in the evenings to think anymore. So I just want you to tell me what to do. I'll die on the floor for you and then be done.
Yeah.
So after a couple of classes like that, he was like, okay, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
And he started really getting into it.
Well, I think there's, we could talk about the reasons why people like it. I think that one that you don't have to think about what you're doing is huge, right?
Big one.
Because, you'll have people, and that could be any kind of class, whatever, Zumba or whatever you're into.
Yeah.
Cool, do your thing. But people want to just come in, be told what to do, and then they can go home and go about their day because, everybody's so busy now. Or
and
can
it's
be
tiresome too.
Yeah, you don't want to have to. What am I going to do today? I remember my Globo Gym days. I'd be like,
I guess
I'll do 3 sets of 10 curls, and then I'll do this. Yeah,
It's so
and then
true.
and then it becomes stale, and then you don't know what to do, and then you get you're looking at a different magazine to figure out a new workout, and
It's just like this rotating, like vicious cycle.
it is. And then I'd always skip leg day.
See, that's the one I
Always.
enjoyed. That's a woman thing, I think, too.
Yeah, girls want to work their butt and their quads.
Yeah. Oh,
Dudes
yeah.
just want a bigger chest
want
and
big
giant
arms.
biceps,
Yeah.
right? They just want to look like Arnold from here up. They don't care about anything
little
else.
flamingo legs.
Right, exactly. With just getaway sticks.
Yeah, getaway sticks.
So, all right, so you're down here and then you're training at Slice. Mm-hmm. So you started at Slice in about what, 18, 19?
Yeah, 18, 19. I want to say it had to be like the middle of 19 because I didn't start coaching until 2020, and I had been at Slice for a little while then. So, yeah, I would say the spring of 2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at what point did it become competitive for you? Even just oh, I want to compete locally, and when did you get that bug? How did that happen?
So I had met a friend from Slice, or not Slice, Draken rather, and he asked me to do a competition with him up in Richmond. At the time, they had Superfits, and it was a Superfit competition. He was like, you should just do it with me. It'll be fine. Same thing.
Weren't those nationwide, those Superfit comps?
Yeah. I don't want to say they were like Wadapalooza because I think they were bigger than that in the sense of where it touched, but it was a big deal to be at the biggest Superfit, win and get there. So a couple buddies asked me to do competitions. I did them, and obviously once you do one, if you're competitive and you felt good about it, or if you didn't do well, my first one, we thought we were going to come in third, and we're standing up as they call third place. It's not us. And it was
yeah, I was just stretching.
It's just a little tight, so that really kind of stung. But it was cool because it was my first CrossFit comp, made it to the finals. And then the second one that I did with Thomas, he kind of got me more local. We came in third in that competition, and I was like, this is freaking, I love this.
So the first one you did, was it scaled?
Yes.
Yeah,
it was scaled.
Yeah, my first one ever was scaled too, and it was a 4-person comp. It was actually grit, the one
nice.
that's coming up, right?
Yeah.
And a couple guys at the gym were talking about, hey, do you want to do it? So we talked to Sherry, who I was telling you about earlier, that owned the gym, and we talked to her about it. She's like, and she told us, she's like, you guys should just do scaled. And we're like, really? And we looked at the workouts, we're like, okay.
We?
She's like, just do scaled. That way you can just have fun.
Yeah.
You don't care. You guys are going to do great. And I almost think I liked her take on it because we did just have fun. Nothing was crazy. And I think even though it was scaled that day, I'm like, man, I'm pretty good at this. I'm badass. Right?
Yeah, have you seen me walking around?
Because I remember we looked and we had out of the I think there was 4 events in a final. I think we got first in everything but one.
Let's go.
Right, and I remember I was just having fun,
He
right?
was like,
and we
got
get
it.
finished and doing the cheering on the next team
Yeah.
or whatever. And I remember we were lined up to go in for the final, and this I say kid because I'm old, but this kid goes, hey, do we even need to do the final? I'm like, huh? I was like, I didn't understand what he was. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I don't think it really matters.
Those guys are going to win no matter what.
Your guys are going to win anyway because you've won everything. And I was just like,
I
so
might
the
want
gears
to
are
win
turned
more.
right.
Yeah.
Right. But I was like, I gave the kind of, I was like, look, man, it's fine. It's just go out there and do your best and have fun,
I'm
right?
going for a 5
So he
brother.
kind of walks away, and I turned and I told the other guys on the team, I said,
smashing
we
them.
are going to crush that. I hated the attitude he had.
Yeah.
So, McGill's walking in, so we'll keep going. So I was like, we're going to crush these dudes. And that was actually, I think we took second. Maybe we took second in the final.
No.
Well, I remember because we had worm thrusters,
Yeah.
right? And you had to, but they used these big fire hoses stuffed with sand, and they were like
Really?
folded and stapled on the ends.
Oh my gosh.
But we had a plan just because we're all getting organized with it, right? We said,
Yeah.
hey, every time we finish, let's put the worm, and we had to turn and do burpees, right?
Yeah.
So I said, we're going to turn and we'll put it on the right-hand side. Well, we do the first set, it was like 21-15-9 or whatever.
Yeah.
And we put it down, and the guy's like, no rep. And we're like, what? So we picked it up, did another one, and then came back to the right side, put it down, and he no reps us again.
What in
so
the
this happens
world?
like 2 or 3 times, and finally I almost grabbed it. I'm like, what are we doing wrong?
That's my biggest thing. Tell me what I'm doing.
Because I'm seeing that one kid's team pass us.
Chris is like, I will do anything
Right.
to beat these guys.
So he finally tells me, I'm like, all right, let's go. And we ended up, I think we ended up catching him, but yeah, I was, I got pretty pumped
nice.
up for that. So
That's the fun. That's the part of it. That's the fun though. Is like
Yeah.
really like racing people.
yeah.
That's
so,
cool.
you know, a lot of people know, at least in the gym, know that you just went to semifinals, right? So how long ago did you decide, like, was it your first year competing with Bridget that you decided you wanted, like, okay, I'm going to try to get to the CrossFit Games?
I want to say like, so in 2020, I started getting like really serious. Like when COVID happened and things were shut down, you just had more time to spend at the gym. And as a coach, I had access to the gym. So thankfully,
Were you coaching at Slice then?
I was coaching at Slice, and I was fortunate enough to have access to the gym, whereas like other members didn't. So that was a really big turning point for me, I would say. Even like just competitively, not because I didn't want to be competitive, but I had more time to try and be competitive.
Right.
So I could do like conditioning, and I could do accessories, and like do all the things. So after that, and we decided to do a team that year. And I love Bridget. That's my WOD wife. Like, I'll do anything for that girl. Whatever competition she wants to do, I'm there. Like, we'll do it together. And it was nice to be competitive with her and, like, have another strong female where she's, like, the yin to my yang as far as, like, skills. And so once we started working out together and we're like, let's find a team. So I started just asking random people that I knew. That's how I met Colby and Clayton. I slid into Colby's DMs. I'm sorry, Aaron. That's a pretty good
dirty.
story too.
That's dirty.
Yeah. He's like he doesn't tell us this when we first meet, right? So this is like months go by. We're already done with our first like team. We made it to the online semifinal, whatever. And he goes, yeah, I'll never forget when you messaged me. I was sitting on the couch next to Aaron, and I was like, yeah, some girl just DM'd me about a CrossFit team. And Aaron has no clue who I am, might add. And she goes, well, what did you say? And he goes, I said yes, obviously. I'm like, oh, my gosh, he started us out on such a bad
Right,
foot.
because she's probably like, who's this?
Yeah, who's this girl? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, thankfully.
She didn't say girl. You know she did.
She did not. She did not. I'm keeping it PG for the
Right.
people. But thankfully, I love Aaron, and we're
Yeah,
good friends
she's nice.
now.
Yeah.
So after that team, after like kind of getting shafted, like this still rubs me the wrong way. So it was the first year they brought back the affiliate cup, and we had made it to a semifinal. That year there was only 3 in person and 1 online. Well, obviously we were a new team. You know, we weren't this like Invictus or Mayhem, and so we got the online semifinal, which really pisses me off still to this day because it kind of just like strips you of that real first experience.
Yeah.
And not to mention, like, it cost us still like $800 for an online semifinal. Like, we're using our own equipment and our own things. And then they sent us this prize pack, and it was like leftover gear from the year before.
With somebody's sweat on it.
Somebody, like, the shirts said media or judge on the back. And we got 2 mugs, and one of them had a broken handle.
You were like the kids that get the free T-shirts of the team that loses the Super Bowl.
Exactly. I'm like, this is, yeah, we're the kids in Africa that get the bad stuff.
Yeah.
The teams that weren't printed right. So after that, I was really sour, and I was like, I want to get back to another semifinal.
Yeah.
And I like committed to doing nutrition. I committed to getting a coach. I really
Kind of went
loved it.
all in.
Yeah, I was like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And at the time, I was only 28 years old. I wasn't looking to have kids at the moment. So I was like, if I'm going to do it, it's now.
Got to go.
Yeah, like, and not that I don't think there's tons of women that have done it after having kids.
Sure.
It just changes your priorities.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I wanted to, like, make that commitment or not.
It's almost like you got to get in deep enough that if you do decide to start a family,
Yes.
you can come back.
Yeah, you can come back and, like, you feel comfortable enough. So after that, I was like, I want to get to another semis. And now after being at this semis, I'm like, I want to get to the games. Like, I don't know. I really try to be realistic with myself. I don't know how plausible that is.
Yeah.
But I think I can work hard enough in the next year to give myself a good shot with the right team.
Right.
So that's what I want. I'm probably going to give it like one more good effort, and then Sam, really wants to have kids, so he's kind of hounding me.
All right. So I don't know if anybody will notice, but after our first technical difficulty, because of I'm throwing away all those stupid rechargeable batteries because they suck. So so we left off. You mentioned one last effort next year.
Yes. Yeah.
Actually, to trying to get back to the games or get into the games for the first time. So, and you just specifically Sam wanting to have kids.
Yeah. Sam's like really. Not that either of us are old, but you kind of dream about the stages of your life, and I think we're getting close to that. Like right now, the kids are our gyms, so 2 gyms is enough for the moment. We're trying to take it
very
month by month.
Expensive kids.
Yeah.
And it's like you have 200 plus children.
200 plus. Oh, I feel that way every day. I take that back. Not every day, but there are some days when I'm like, are we all like smoking the same thing today? Like, what are we doing?
Exactly. Did everybody read what the workout is? Because I'm confused. Are we looking at the same thing? So, at the time, so you're coaching at Slice, and then I had gotten word that you were also coaching at Burn Fit.
Yes.
So how did that happen?
So I was coaching. So I started coaching at Slice in 2020, and I don't think Jeff and Justin know the story and like really what that meant to me, and kind of how that transformed my life to what it is now. So I never dreamed about coaching. I was like, I'm scared. I don't want to do this. Not that I have a problem talking clearly, but a little bit of that is from coaching for a little while and just being more comfortable in front of people. So long story short, Jeff was like, you have a great personality, you're bubbly, you're a good mover, like, do you want to coach? We need coaches. And I was like, I don't know. He goes, look, we'll help pay for it, just go try it, and we'll go from there. So I went to my level 1 January of 2020, right before the world shut down, and then started coaching at Slice. And once I coached, it took me 4 months, I would say. Like 4 months in, I was like, I love this. Yeah. And you just get to this point where people are putting their trust and like so much faith in you, and they're looking at you for guidance and help, and the way that makes them feel, and selfishly the way that makes me feel. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm eating this up. I love it. And so fast forward, coached there for about a year, and then I started coaching at Unrivaled because somewhere in the back of my mind, I was like, maybe I want to do this for real. Like maybe I want to own a gym. Maybe I want to, have my own spot. And Drew has a really good gym out in Chesapeake. And so I was like, a bunch of my friends went there too. So I was like, I'll go coach there, see what it's like. Kind of be a mentee. And so loved it out there. Well, backing up to like when I met Jess and Clayton and Colby, Jess coached at Burn Fit, and she was like, hey, I know you're coaching at Unrivaled. I know that you're a good coach. You're a good mover. Obviously, we're friends. We really need coaches over at Burn Fit. Can you come coach? And I had already, at this point, started thinking about opening this up and, like, making plans. Knowing that it was only 12 minutes away, I was like, I just want to let you know that, like, I will coach there, but I have plans to open my own gym. I really am.
So you had already planned. So you actually were planning or wanting to open your own gym. What, 2 years ago?
Yes, and that's how I approached Drew too. I was like, Drew, I really think I want to open my own gym. Like, don't think I'm here trying to like take trade secrets. Like, I just really need to see what a good gym looks like. Right. And honestly, this was a really good. His spot was really good for me on the way home from work at the time. Like, I could just go to the gym and then keep going home. And he was willing to, like, share details that, for some reason in the CrossFit community, gym owners are very tight-lipped.
Yeah.
And he was very willing to, like, go into things and help me. And maybe I shouldn't say this. He was like, look, if you tell me you're opening a gym in Smithfield, I'm fine with that. If you end up opening a gym 5 minutes down the road, I'm going to be pissed.
I'm going to burn it down.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not doing that, I promise.
So did you kind of make a commitment to say, I'm going to be opening up a gym in northern Suffolk or out that way?
I knew I wanted to be close to Smithfield because Sam and I had just bought land the year prior, and we're trying to build our house at the time. So, like, mind you, we've got like 15 balls in the air. We're building a house. I'm coaching at 2 locations. I just told him I wanted to quit my job, which is a very well-paying job, to open a gym that's not going to pay me anything for quite some time, and it's all happening at once. So long story short, I get over there because of Jess, and basically was like, look, I don't want you to think I'm coming in and stealing members. That's not my goal. That's not my hope. But they really needed coaches. And honestly, the first couple months I worked there, I didn't tell a single soul. Like, I didn't bring up me owning or opening a gym unless somebody like directly asked me.
But you at least put it out to her and
the owners.
And the owner just let him know.
I was a little gun shy at first. Jess asked me several times, and I was like, I don't want to be that person. Like, not that I think I have this grand reputation with all these people, but I definitely don't want to spoil my reputation with people to start in the community by like seeming like a snake and sniping like members. Yep.
Because people do that.
They really do, and it is. I mean, fortunately, I've not had that problem here in the last 7-8 months, but I've heard real horror stories from people. And, like, at the end of the day, you're taking someone's livelihood when you do that. So the ugly comes out. And I didn't want that to happen between anyone. Yeah,
well, it's just dirty, too. But so you were working in Virginia Beach, coaching at Unrivaled, and coaching at what was Burnfit at the time.
And living in Smithfield.
And living in Smithfield.
So I put, like, hundreds of miles on my car every day.
Yeah. That's a lot of gas money.
Yeah, it was... Not gonna lie, like once I was finally able to step away from construction, because I was driving to the oceanfront every day for my last project that I was on. Once I could step away from that, it really took a toll off of me, because that was just like 45 extra minutes, both one direction of driving that I didn't have to do a day.
Yeah. So well, you turns in like 14-hour days too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, real quick.
Yeah. Like I feel like sometimes I have the weirdest schedule now. Like I go to my big boy job at 5 in the morning, get off at 1.
Big boy job, yeah.
And then I do whatever for 4 or 5 hours, then I come work out, then I coach. And it honestly doesn't feel like that long of a day until like I'm home.
So you get home and you sit down.
When I got home last night, I eat, and by 8 o'clock I'm like,
you're like, oh, I'm tired.
I'm sore. I'm tired. Time to go to sleep. But okay, so you're at Burnfit. So you at that point when you went to go to Unrivaled, you left Slice.
Yes.
And you really went there to get mentorship from Drew, who anybody around here, if you've ever been to Unrivaled, phenomenal gym. It's clean. Yeah. Like I've never heard anybody say anything bad about that place. Been there a few times for whatever competitions, watching competitions. Do you still reach out to Drew to ask questions or guidance, or are you kind of done with that?
We talk a little bit. Most of the time, this is probably bad to say. Most of the time, it's like complaining about certain things.
You won't believe this. And he's like,
Like my very first week here, right? Somebody stopped up the toilets. And I laughed because I'm still in the Unrivaled Facebook group. And like a couple weeks prior, Drew's like making a PSA. So that's where my PSAs come from, is Drew. And I will do them until the day that I close the gym. Because nobody takes you more seriously than when you have a video in front of your face showing like the toilets overflowing. So we'll kind of text back and forth.
Because CrossFitters will mess up a toilet.
Toilet. And we'll be like, hey, I sent a video PSA today in our Facebook group. You would be so proud. And he's like, you just don't know what you're missing until you do X, Y, and Z. So it's a little bit more of like joking back and forth now. But he's still, definitely would consider him still a resource with things when I need him.
So he was pretty supportive of you.
Yeah, he was very, very, like, I really have to... Jeff and Justin got me into coaching, which really turned me on to like, I want to do this forever. And then when I got to Unrivaled and being under Drew's wing, like I just really liked the way that he ran things. And he was super, super supportive of, kind of explaining to me why he did things the way he did. And, showing me how I would like my gym to be run. Because, everyone has their preferences. Everyone likes different things. And it's hard to really know what you like until you know what you don't like.
Right.
So, like, going back and forth between gyms and kind of, like, taking temperatures of places. I really liked what Drew did.
Well, you can learn a lot from the negatives too. You know, it's like I used to tell people, like, whatever leadership style I developed in the military, I took the good and the bad, because I took things from people. I'm like, I'm never going to be like that.
Yep.
Then you take, hey, I want to do that just like that. Then you find your own, you know.
And even like with construction, I can remember there's certain things when I knew that I wanted to open a gym, I like started, you just start paying attention to management a little bit more when you know you're going to be in management. And even from my construction job, I took things that I liked and disliked on, you know, how to manage people, because that's really, it's not really just keeping the doors open. It's like managing the members and the coaches and understanding like people's needs and how to address them appropriately. And there's lots of things that I took from both places where I was like, I like this, I really don't like this, you know, in the real working world, and then in gym ownership too, that kind of molded to what we have here.
Well, plus there's going to be things like that you think you want to do it that way.
Oh, yeah.
Then you see it in action, you're like,
that was stupid.
Yeah, who thought of that? Oh, that was me.
That was me, yeah. I'll tell the owner.
Yeah. But, all right, so you're over there coaching at Burn Fit, and you're getting ready to – now, this is a weird sequence of events.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like I was part of this sequence of events as it went down, because – I think I don't remember. It was at Heat Wave. It's always at Heat Wave or at Frostbite.
Thanks, Megan.
I would talk to you and Sam, so it's Megan's fault. That I was actually talking to Sam, and he said, because I just got done talking to Daniel, Chelsea's husband from Buckrow Beach,
Yes.
and then I'm shooting the breeze with Sam, and he was saying you guys were opening a gym. I was like, get out of here. Where at? And he told me. I'm like, really?
Is
I
that
said,
right
where
next
at?
door? Yeah.
He's like, well, we're not really sure, but I think it's going to be, you know, right next to
Yeah.
decent people. And I was like,
Bruh,
really?
That's
I
right
was
next
like,
to my
all right.
house.
So I was like, well, that's cool, you know. And at the time, CFT wasn't. I
Yeah,
didn't know it was
yeah.
going to close or whatever. And I just, you know, and then you had walked up, we were talking. I say, hey, well, if you guys ever need help. And I had no intention of leaving there. Just
Yeah.
like, if you need whatever, need me to
Oh, man,
pop
that
in
was
and
the
coach
olive branch right there.
here and there. Let me know. I'll come help you. Just
Yeah.
because, honestly, you just want to see gyms flourish.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
So you're coaching over at Burn Fit. Obviously, you leave and you're opening up this joint, right? Did any of those members end up coming here permanently?
No.
There was just a few that did punch cards, huh?
A few that did punch cards, and like most of them, like that's something that I really admire about the people over there, from that like time frame before we owned over there too.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people were very worried that they were just gonna like jump ship and come over here, but I really have major respect for them because a lot of them are friends, I would say, like not just, you know, members. And they wanted to support me, so they bought punch cards.
Right,
but
bought
they were
T-shirts,
like,
yeah.
bought T-shirts, bought punch cards, you know, dropped in. Even like when I needed stuff to like be moved or help, they offered time, which is so invaluable. But they didn't leave their ship over there.
Yeah, that's
which I
cool
was
that
like,
they
that's
didn't
very
just.
respectable.
That's cool they didn't just jump off the boat and run
Yeah,
over here because they
yeah.
thought it would be better because they liked
And
you
some
or
people,
whatever.
like some of the people live like right down the street. This is much closer to them.
Yeah.
But I think that's very admirable, and I definitely respect all of those people for that.
Because you opened up in what, November?
October
Was it
24th.
Okay, October
Yeah.
24th. Because I remember the opening workout, Paige and I came and worked out.
Yes.
And that workout sucked, man,
That
by the way.
sucked.
Yeah,
I know.
it was
Everyone's like,
rough.
why are you trying to kill people? You
Right.
want to bring them
Day
in.
one, I'm like, oh, this is going to be rough.
Sucks.
Yeah, so wished you luck. And I say, hey, we'll be dropping in from time to time. And then
Yeah.
I was on an airplane. I was flying to California.
Yes, I remember this.
And I'm on the runway, and it happened like bang, bang. So you texted me and said, hey, is there any way you could help during these
it
dates?
was
I'm
Christmas.
going down to Florida. And I
Yeah,
was like, yeah,
yeah.
no sweat. And you're like, of course I'll pay you. And I'm like, all right, whatever, yeah. And then we get done texting. I said, well, I'll get back if you want to get back from California, and we'll iron all the
Yep.
details out. I'll come by. And then like 5 minutes later, Sarah from Burn Fit texts me, hey, is
Oh,
there
man.
any way you can just coach for us over on Mondays, right?
Oh,
Well,
yeah, that's when you started the Monday trend.
well,
Okay,
so
okay.
then at that point, we hadn't found out that Tidewater was closing.
Yeah.
But me and my buddy Christian Maples, we were talking. You could see it happening, and I think the owner at the time was holding on, trying to save it.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure.
That's got to be a tough spot to be
Oh
in.
yeah,
man.
no doubt. And because it's what you tried to put together, nobody likes to lose, right?
Yeah,
So I'm like,
exactly.
all right, yeah, let me get my foot back in over there.
Yeah.
And I let CFT's owner know that, hey, just let you know I'm coaching Mondays over there. I'm
Yeah.
not leaving your gym. And she was like, okay, like
Not a big
cool.
deal, yeah,
And I was like,
yep.
that was easy. That's weird. But anyway.
But isn't that crazy? Like,
Yeah.
people are very, I don't know, I want to say guarded over their coaches.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the complete opposite. I'm like, look, as long as you don't screw me over, I'm not going to screw you
Well,
over.
there's actually a lot of gyms, like a buddy of mine who used to live up here, lives in Florida now. He got his L1 and he's coaching at a gym, and that
In
owner,
contract?
yes, he's like he has an NDA. Or not an NDA, what would you call it?
Yeah,
He's
a
not.
non-compete.
Yeah, he has a
Yeah.
non-compete. He's not allowed to coach at another gym. Period.
Really?
But she also whatever his deal with pay and
yeah.
not paying a membership, and I think she helped pay for part of his L1.
I
I mean
can
that's
see that,
fair,
yeah, yeah.
And as long
Whatever
as
you work out.
yeah, as long as those ground rules are set. So yeah, we started that train in motion here. I like the spot when we
Yeah.
got here for that opening day workout, and this spot, the Harborview spot's definitely smaller, more that
Much
old
smaller.
school boutique style.
Yeah,
Heck, there's a
yeah.
lot of gyms back in the day. You see old videos of where like half
You're
of the
like,
space
how
was
in
a
the world
gym.
did you fit that many
Right.
people in that square
Right.
footage?
Yeah,
It's
well,
so true.
well, heck, we get like 20 people in here, and it's just like
You're like,
yeah, it's chaos, but I love it. So
Yeah.
So anyway, so you get. I let you know that gym's closing. You get word, and then it was like I don't even know. Did we even talk about me coaching here? Or it just
I
kind
don't
of
know.
happened.
After Christmas, I was like, I really need some help. And I had reached out to you. You were definitely my number one. Like I said, I've always heard really great things, and I knew I needed like a reputable coach, not to sound like, I guess, high and mighty, but the first thing that I didn't want was to have another coach be from inside the gym, because you just typically seem to respect people a little bit more if you don't know them and you haven't.
And you get to know them.
You get to know them, yeah. So I was like, I don't want it to be someone from inside the gym per se, because you're a little bit more lax with people like that. So having you come in, and then shortly thereafter, like bringing in like Chuck, who was a member of the gym, and Dan and Rachel and Miguel, and like all these great coaches that kind of just happened to sprinkle along the way, really, really, really helped me the beginning of this year. Like that was, it cost me more money, right? Because I'm paying coaches, but mentally, I can tell you, Sam was like, thank God for these people.
Yeah, because when you told me you were going to be covering all the classes to start,
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, cool. But I was like,
God bless.
that'll last a month or two. She's going to
I'm
die.
telling you, it's funny now because we had we had 5 classes a day when we first started, and I was coaching them all. And now when I coach 5 classes a day, I'm like, I am wrecked. How did I do this for freaking 3 months? Like,
It wouldn't be
crazy.
so bad if you didn't live all the way in Smithfield.
Agreed.
Like
I
if
could
you
go
lived around the
home,
corner.
Yeah, I could just go like pop on the couch for a minute. Yeah.
Because you're kind of just stuck here between like, you got like 6 hours and you're like,
What do I do? So I
Yeah.
just work out, or I'm like running back and forth. I've literally a couple of times recently I've sat in my car
Yeah.
and just like sat, which
Yeah.
seems stupid, but you need to be able to turn it off, because when I'm in here, I'm not necessarily like, I'm on either like trying to like get people in the gym
Yeah.
or coaching or
Yeah.
like thinking about the gym. So I have to be able to turn it off, or I will go batshit
so do you
crazy.
try to take like, let's say you coach a couple morning classes, you get done with hustle at 9. Let's say let's say you don't coach the noon class, but you're staying to coach 4 o'clock that
Yeah.
day. In that open time, do you try to make sure you maximize that time?
Oh yeah.
And what do you during? So like members understand what they might think. Oh, she's just signing people up and coaching
Oh,
classes.
Man. Yeah, and this is, I'm gonna like get on a soapbox about this real quick.
Get on it.
Because I've been having a hard time with this, and it's not for lack of like not loving members and people, but I'm having a really hard time with people like respecting my time. And maybe it's because I'm such a talker. Like people want to talk and they want to hang out.
We
and-
could do a whole nother podcast about
Oh
that.
yeah, and it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, look, guys, like I'm done with my 2-3 hours of coaching. Like I have to work out because I have my goals and things. Just like you want your hour, I want my hour. I have to make sure I go through and look at all the financials pretty much daily. If not, it becomes a super big bear. Small things like responding to emails. If you don't know, I've got 20 nutrition clients. Making sure that we have all the supplies that we need. And like, quite frankly, right now we've got a lot of things that are breaking in between both places. So like, okay, sitting down to analyze, when can I buy new plates? When can I do this? Like what's my income look like? How am I going to pay rent? Oh, I got to pay coaches. Like kind of thinking about the business at large. Especially now that we own Sportsplex, because that space is so much bigger and it requires so much more responsibility. Like I have to really think big picture over there, whereas like here when we started, it's just like, this is a gym and we're just trying to get people in for the gym. Over there it's a whole different animal, and it takes a lot of mental capacity.
So open up here in October. When did you decide, like, not just figure out the details. When did you decide, like, you and the previous owners shake hands and say, all right, I'm buying this joint?
The first of the year.
The first of the year? Because you kind of told me one day that it was happening. I was like, whoa, that's like, you got like cantaloupes down there. Like, that's so if
it didn't feel that way, but
so was that a spur of the moment?
Yeah,
like,
it was actually a really random. So, and this is crazy. Again, this is just how life works. Sam and I had talked a long time ago. We were like, man, if we could ever buy that building, like, we would want to do it. It's, you know, not to like fool people, as we have other businesses outside of this, like, it would be a really good business investment. So we were like, man, if we could do that, that'd be awesome. Kind of heard some conversations between the manager and the owners about, you know, they're really wanting to kind of step away. They're getting to the point where they're retiring from their careers, and it's a lot of work. Like, I say this all the time, and I don't downplay, or I don't want to downplay or upplay what I do, but people think owning a gym is so easy, and it's really a lot more than I think people realize. And they're obviously, like, they want to relax. They've worked hard their whole life. They want to be done with that side of things. So long story short, the old owners called me and asked me, you know, what was my lease like over here, and would I be willing to, like, stop this location and just go over there. And I said, well, I can't. I have a 5-year lease. So I'm pretty much here for a little while. But I was like, I'd be interested if you're willing to sell the whole thing. So talked to Sam. This was like the week before Christmas. Went home, talked to Sam, got on a call with them around the holiday.
And started talking numbers.
Yeah,
and
started figuring out, you know, what this looks like. And then the first of the year, we were like, okay, we're doing this, and put it all in motion.
So if you could rewind time, would you have just bought that one, or would you have still opened up this one?
I would have still opened up this one.
Yeah? Why?
Yeah, because I got to build this one from the ground up, and it's just special. Again, in construction too, like, that's my reward, right? When we're done with the job, like, you see the job. So I'm very into, like, tangible rewards, and this was a really stressful but very sweet, rewarding process to, like, go through the ins and outs. And it was really fun for Sam and I, because we don't work together. And we do, like, when we did work in construction, he does a different type of construction that I did. So it was like getting to see each other in, like, our actual element of, like, hey, we know our shit kind of thing. Like, I'm doing these things, you're doing these things. It was really cool and fun, and it, like, put a little bit more respect and, like, appreciation into one another, because, like, we're seeing what each other does on a daily basis to, like, make something like this happen.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's gone pretty good, like, overall. Like, I feel like it was almost like a blink of an eye. I was coaching at one place, then I was, like, coaching there.
It feels that way.
And then when I was over there, they're like, you know, Melissa's opening a gym, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be coaching there too.
Yeah, I am going to be there.
And it was funny when you
don't tell anyone.
When I told Paige about that, you had reached out just to cover that, she was all pumped up, and because she knew you, and I was like, I must have street cred though, and I got my head got big.
Like,
I'm like, I got street cred, and she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, she's never even seen me coach. She's just going based off
of, like, people that I trust.
So people just have told her. And then, so yeah, that was pretty cool, and it's fun coaching here too. It's been good.
I hope so. I really, like, I joke with some of my closest friends. I'm like, yeah, you know, today was crazy, but, like, I can tell you in the last, like, 7-8 months, there have been times that I've sat in my car on the way home, and it's a 30-minute drive, so I have a lot of time to myself in the car, where I've cried from being so freaking happy. And then there have been a couple of times where I've cried because I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
When the bills come in.
Yeah, when I'm like, oh my God, I just had to pay what amount of money?
Yeah.
So it's been very rewarding. I mean, everything that, you know, the good highs and the low lows, like, they all equal each other out. And, like, I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else anymore. Like,
so are there any big regrets? If you could do the same thing again, would you do anything different? Like the date you opened,
well,
the location.
The week before we opened, Sam and I had our 5-year anniversary trip planned. So we were gone the week prior to opening here. That was stupid. We enjoyed vacation, but not
all you
the
were
same.
thinking about,
oh yeah,
is the dude
we're
painting the place the
phone.
right color?
Yeah, like they're like getting the flooring down, and it's like I'm having people FaceTime me to see, and then I'm trying to, like, argue with people over FaceTime, like I'm in a foreign country and you're not getting my stuff done. And the very, like, last couple of nights leading up to opening, I was stressed
Yeah.
because we weren't there. Like all these like hands-on things that you really want for, like and you really need to be there for, we weren't there for. So I would not do that again.
Yeah, but it all worked out.
It did.
Yeah, because I think you've been doing a lot of things you've been doing that I like is as a boss, you're very direct.
Oh yeah.
Like when you put out a mass text, hey, you guys are failing at this. I need you guys to do this. Okay.
Okay, easy.
Yeah,
ABC.
like, right.
Yeah, that's something I learned in
Like
construction.
me forgetting to lock the doors last night, and I was like, what?
We were in such
There's
a
no
rough
friggin'
neighborhood.
way. Right.
Look, I literally was like, I was gonna joke with you this morning. I was like, I'll check the cameras, Chris. I can show
Creeper.
it to you.
And I sat there and thought, I'm like, well, I know the back door was locked.
Yeah.
And then that's why I told you, okay, I can see that. Yeah, I checked that door, not that door. And I'm like,
Hey, and it's
damn.
that routine we were talking about. Like, it seems so stupid, but I do that every day.
Now
I'm
my
like,
OCD
this,
is going to
this,
go,
this.
next time I close, I'm going to be like, chugga, 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 chugga.
You're gonna get in the car.
I'm
going to
gonna make
back.
a video of me locking the doors
Send
and
it to
verifying.
me,
So if
yeah.
you say the doors are unlocked, I'm like, no,
Wasn't
I'm not.
me.
Look at this. So,
It's so true.
but this place is way easier to close than the other one. There's a lot more
yeah.
doors at the other
I
one.
really do. Like, I have to give credit to the coaches that close up over at Sportsplex because this is way easier. It's just so much less stressful. And, like, there's 500 doors over there.
Yeah.
It's really easy to forget something in a space that size. So it does take a lot of extra brain power.
Well, it seems like every time I close over there, Mondays and then Fridays until Justin gets back, it's always me and Troy. So
Yeah.
he's got a hustle class.
Oh, that's good,
So I
yeah.
do like everything from the
blacktop.
west side of the gym to the rig, and I mop,
okay, yeah.
close it down. I'm like, "Are you good, dude?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm good." And he does that
It's
side.
really,
you know?
I really like that. That's something that I don't know about Tidewater and a couple other places that I've been in, but I really want our coaches to be like on a team together, like really help each other out. And there's been a couple of places when I've just not, I felt the disconnect, I will say. And I don't want it to be like that in our space. Like it's very important to me, the camaraderie, the community. Like this is our ship. Like, okay, sure, like my name is the owner, but like I can't do anything that I do without like y'all. And as a good team, if we're helping each other out, it's gonna make everyone's experience so much better.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is you're not afraid to tell members like, "Hey, here's the rules. Please put your stuff away."
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Like the other night when I was coaching, like there was the C2 bikes were sitting in the wrong spot, and I almost left them out just to mess with you because you were coaching the next morning.
You know I would be so bad.
But now that I left it, didn't lock the doors, that would have been really bad. You would have been like, "Did you go next door and go drinking
Yeah,
or
did you
something?"
drink?
Right?
Yeah.
Were you
but
drinking
you
on the
can't do that because
Yeah.
when Miguel gets in here before me, like that guy, like Miguel is the best. He comes in. I can see when people get in the door, right? Because the key fob app's on my phone. And Miguel gets here like 10 minutes before me.
He turns the TVs on for you.
Gets
like,
like all the crap that's
Yeah.
been left out, puts it in the
Like
lost
I
and
could, you can
found.
literally, if you can literally almost count on rolling in 5 minutes before you have to coach
Yeah,
in the morning,
and
and
Miguel's got you.
yeah. But it'd be that one time you do it, Miguel didn't
You
come
won't
in
be
that
there,
day,
yeah,
and
and
then you're
like, crap.
scrambling.
That's
yeah,
about me this morning. Shoo-wee, I was panicking, but we got it done.
yeah. So, got quite a few new members lately too. I feel like I
Yeah.
keep seeing new faces.
Yeah, that's something that's been really kind of, it's stressful in the sense of like there's been so many new members that
Mm-hmm.
I'm not recognizing people's faces all the time, and I don't like that. I like to be the owner that knows everyone. I really try to make
it takes
a
a while. It
point.
takes me 2 or 3 times, but I'll just tell
Yeah.
people,
Hey, I don't
"Hey,
remember
what was
your-
your name?"
yeah.
Like I'll tell
You
them.
have
It
to
takes me a
be.
couple times,
Yeah.
like and then if they're not regularly coming to the classes you coach,
That's kind of
but
on
people
you too.
usually understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's not our fault.
And then or the trick is, when you don't know somebody's name, you're
You
trying
just
you
look
just
at
go
their
to
picture, yeah.
you try to find you go to somebody else and be like, "Okay, what's that
What's
person's
that?
name? Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. That's
yeah,
what
thank
it
you,
is."
thank you.
Yeah.
I do that a lot.
I won't say who it is because I don't want to. But the other night, somebody that I've coached 50 times, I'm like, "What's their name?" Like
You do have
and
moments
then
like that.
no, but here's the thing. I went to Zach. And I'm like,
Really?
"Zach, what's?" And he's
So,
like,
okay, we've
and
narrowed
he's
it down
then
to
he's
6 o'clock.
Then he stares at me and he goes,
I don't know either.
and he just starts throwing random names. I'm like, "That's not it.
That's not it.
That's not it.
Come on,
That's
keep
not
going."
it." And then I'm like, "Whatever, I'll figure it out." And then 10 minutes later, I just happened to yell the name out. I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it just came
It's
out."
this.
Yeah. But I felt horrible when I don't.
do feel that
when you're
way.
supposed to know somebody's name.
Yeah.
I feel horrible.
And it's such a good way to like, it gets people a little bit more comfortable with you. It's a nice sign of like respect
Yeah.
too. Like I really, really, really try to encourage people, like know people's names.
Or like
it makes a difference.
The new guy Frank that just signed up
Frank.
last week, right?
Oh my gosh, he
I
told me
coached-
his name was Frank. And I was like, I don't have a Frank. He goes,
Yeah.
well, it's Francisco. I
Yeah.
was like, okay.
Well,
thank
even
you."
worse, for like the first 30 minutes of class,
What'd
I
you
was
call
calling
him?
him Kevin.
Oh my
And then he finally goes,
gosh.
hey, man, it's Frank. I'm like, oh.
Thank you for saying
And
that.
then Sam goes, oh, good job, Chris. I'm like, oh.
Okay,
But I was
look.
like, hey, thank you for correcting me because,
because
I
people
hate,
don't do that.
I hate calling
Oh
people
my
the
God.
wrong name. I
have
feel
a- so
horrible.
I have a story about that. And like I was just talking about it with Hannah this morning because Hannah Field, her name is Hannah without an H at the end, okay? And one of our friends kept saying it with an H, and I like texted them on the side. I was like, hey, it's Hannah without an H, whatever. But like that was, you want to be corrected, but in that situation, like if I'm calling you Steve, like through a text message, none of your friends are helping you out. You don't want to be the person that's like, hey, my name's not Steve, right?
Yeah.
Because then you look like a butthole.
Yeah.
So long story short, when we got the team together for semifinals this year, Kara, love her to death, was calling me like a different name. My nickname is Peebs from Peebles. Like my parents, everyone like back home calls me Peebs. And I forget what she was calling me, like maybe Peeds with a D. And neither AJ nor Justin are like correcting her. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like,
Did they realize this?
yes.
So they're
they
just going
realized
with it.
Yes. So I'm like, okay, I hate this. Like, I'm like sweating thinking about it right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, it's Peebs with a B. And like, then I texted her on the side. I was like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I feel like such a butthole, but like, it's not my name.
Right.
So
But then she would probably felt worse.
she did. And she was super chill about it. But like, thank you. Like, correct us. I've done that before. I've called someone an entire class. Like, her name was Nancy, and I called her like Tammy, and she didn't say anything.
Right.
And then finally another member came up
Like
to
it's
me.
not even close.
No,
Like how I got from Frank to Kevin. Probably because the cat that Paige brought home.
The
yeah.
cat.
Yeah.
Oh, Kevin. I'm like, yeah, thank you. It's not disrespectful. It's your name. Like, we
Yeah.
want to get it
Yeah,
right,
correct
too.
me,
Yeah,
please.
it's so funny to me.
Yeah, because you don't sign in, I have to sign you in.
Yeah,
so
and then
please
I'm gonna
give me
be
your
upset if you
right,
don't, yeah.
Right. Yeah. For our competition and who gets the most people in their classes.
You're up 1 right now.
Yeah.
1-1, I guess 2-1-1. The tie, it was like, I'm mad at my own husband. My own husband goes to your class.
Well, my daughter went to
I know,
yours. So
she did. I was
yeah.
like, let's go. Thanks, Paige.
Yeah, she goes, I'm going now. I'm going over to Sportsplex. I'm like, okay. She goes, I already talked to Melissa about it. I'm going there. I'm like, so I just texted her. I'm like, traitor.
Yeah, you're such a traitor. Yay.
I'm like, no, it's good. As
I
long
knew-
as you're
yeah,
going
it
to
was-
one of them.
You got a big group last night. That was good.
That was
I like
probably
seeing
the
that.
biggest 6 o'clock
Yeah, it was a
in a
big
while.
class, yeah.
But you can see like each, I'm sure the members noticed too, like the 5:30 a.m. class here has
It's been
grown.
growing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. And well, 5:30 over there has been okay, right? Kind of hit or
Yeah,
miss.
it's funny because the CrossFit classes have been bigger, and then the hustle classes have been a little bit smaller. So I'm like, okay,
So
like,
is
maybe
that-
I
is-
go close to.
Is that hustle people going to CrossFit or hustle people that are moving on to go do some other form of fitness, you think?
Hustle people going to CrossFit. Yeah, which I think, so that some like you can get an idea of like what goes through my mind when I think about classes and class size. Like it's really not just the dollar value, right? Like a lot of people think I probably just make decisions based upon I'm not making money at this class, but right now like coaches are very limited. So like, and I try to respect y'all's time as much as possible. Most everyone has another job. Like there's only a couple of us that don't have another job who can coach like in the mornings, afternoons, midday, whatever.
Yeah.
So I try to look at like, if I offer this, do I even have the staff to offer something like this? It's not just the money. And like, if I do have the staff to offer it, like, what does that look like for them in their schedule? How does that affect their lives? Like, are they willing to commit to something like that? And then even a step further, like, well, how many classes is this person coaching? When they're gone, what does that hole look like that I have to get filled with other people who don't normally coach those
Right.
classes? So it's like a whole list of things that we think about when we look at them and make decisions
Because
like
that's
that.
a big hit, even when one coach is gone, like
Oh, yeah.
John being gone. you
Oh
know,
my
'cause
gosh, yeah.
Obviously, a lot of people in the military or whatever.
Yeah.
He's gone, and then he got extended somewhere for a week.
And that's not his
you know,
fault. He
he's-
can't do anything
yeah,
about it. Yeah.
Exactly, but he's only coaching a couple classes. Then all of a sudden, it's bang bang. Who else can coach?
Yeah, and it's like the classes that, this is no one's fault, and I maybe just be like, woe is me at this
Yeah.
point, but it's always the classes where I'm like, I can't cover that class because I'm coaching another class, and I think that's been a little bit of a challenge with having two spaces. It's like, typically if it was just here, like I can do it, but now balancing my time between two, like I can't just be the person that covers everything. I have to really kind of manage that, and so Luke and Sarah are a good example. when they're gone. They coach a lot of my middle of the day classes, and that's a real big hit when they're gone because other people can't coach in the middle of the day.
Right.
So as much as I want to give a lot of people as many classes as they want, like business-wise, it's not smart to do that.
Yeah. Well, I think eventually it'll work out, and it probably even sometimes, it shows you what coaches are invested, which ones aren't.
Yeah.
But, sometimes it's just you have to be understanding, like,
They have lives, yeah.
we're losing a coach here at least temporarily because
Yeah.
of, their own business, and
Absolutely.
things that got to take priority. And, you hear things like that, and I was told that person, well, I'm glad it's that and not like,
Yeah.
something really tragic that took
Yeah,
over your
something
life.
that would be, nothing that you would want to
Yeah.
hear. Like, and I really, really, I don't know how other gym owners are, but transparency is very key for me. Like, I want to be as open about all of the things that I do, even with my members, not just coaches. Like, I'm willing to have that conversation if you're willing to talk to me about it. Don't pre-assume, don't judge. Come talk to me, and like, this is a business for us. Like, obviously, like I need to make some sort of money, right? Like, this is not a nonprofit. But I'm not over here like, banking six figures by any means. So if we can be transparent with one another, we can make the best investment for all of us.
Yeah, but that's part of like, if you were banking six figures,
Yeah.
What does that say about your gym?
Oh man, that would be a dream.
You're killing it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I think, I'm sure you've listened to a lot of Best Hour, the Fern's
yes, I
podcast,
love
right?
him.
And like,
Yes.
I feel like I learned a lot from Fern because he's taught my level 1 and my level 2. I've talked to him countless times. Great resource of knowledge. But
Yes.
I remember hearing him say like, money is important because. I'm not trying to take his words out of context, but I've thought about this, that if you're making money at it, it means you probably have a lot of members. So you're doing the right things because you keep getting members. So like things are rocking. And, coaching at a gym that eventually closed, you've been there too. And then coaching at gyms or being around gyms that are successful.
Yes.
It's not hard to see like what goes right and what goes wrong.
Yeah.
And I think when you communicate that to members, and I think it's important to members because you've heard of people, I'm just opening a gym because I like the community.
Yeah.
Well, this is a bad
can't-
investment if you're just trying to have a hobby.
It is so true.
Unless you're just trying to like throw money at the wind and you're independently.
It's like a boat. You're just pouring it down the drain.
If you're Jeff Bezos or the guy that died in the submarine.
God,
like-
I could go on a soapbox about that.
Like he could have just donated us the money and like we could
that'd been great. Yeah.
Right. The gym would never close. We got a 50-year
got it,
lease.
don't worry,
Right?
yeah.
So, but I think that's important that members understand. Like, I think most of them probably do.
I think
and
so,
if,
too.
That like you have to pay bills too.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
you don't want it to be woe is me. Like, I don't say things to be like, look, I need help. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just telling you the reality of the situation. And just like you said a little while ago, like, I'm very direct. Like, this is this is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if X, Y, and Z doesn't happen, I can't pay my mortgage. I can't pay this. Like, I can't keep the lights on, kind of thing. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not me trying to, make you feel sorry for me. It's just trying to tell you that this is a business. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it seems fun on the outside, and I want you guys to have the best hour of your
Yeah.
day always. But like at the end of the day, if it doesn't make money, it won't stay open.
Yeah. But I think most of the time you tell, even if they don't like something, they're like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't understand where you're coming from.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
we got to do this and this.
The respect that you
Yeah.
can give people in that regard is very important.
Yeah. Like a clean gym and mopping.
This is your PSA to mop up your shit all the time. I don't care if you just mopped it, mop it again.
Yeah.
And clean up your chalk. And like,
It's working because literally, like when I was closing last night, right?
Yeah.
People are like using the little mop. I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm gonna mop the entire
they're like, no,
floor.
no, no.
And
Melissa will
and I
see
turn
me.
around, and there's still people like doing this. I'm like, okay,
She looks at the
Or people like
cameras.
try to take the mop from me. I'm like, I got it. Like,
yeah, let me do it.
I got it because they were over here talking and people were walking up. Hey, can I help? No, I got it. Just
It's so, I mean, honestly, like, and I try to explain this to people, it's just a sign of respect for the space. Like, it's just nasty. Like, I don't want to lay on the floor in like dirt and grime, neither does anyone else. And if we can keep it nicer longer, then we're going to be able to buy new stuff versus like replacing stuff.
Yeah.
So I also don't want people to come in. My big thing is like, not appearance in the sense of being fake, but like your first impression matters. Like when people walk in, if the gym looks terrible, they're gonna be like, oh, I don't know about this place. They
Right.
don't know what they're doing.
Right.
If they walk in, it looks nice and taken care of and well kept. They're like, okay, like even
Yeah.
if we don't, we're gonna fake it till
Yeah,
we
if somebody
make it.
if somebody walks in and it looks like crap, they're gonna immediately start looking at for all the bad things. If they walk in and it looks nice, they're like, oh, and they start seeing
wow.
positive. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, and they lean towards the positive things about the gym instead of looking for negative things about the gym. So
Again,
that makes
very
a
important
huge
to
difference.
the business too. Like that makes or breaks someone having a membership sometimes.
So I would say at this point, what your biggest pet peeve as a gym owner is things being put in their place.
Yeah. Put them away. That's something I learned from Drew too. And Drew's a lot scarier than me. I don't have to get scary all the time. Cornell's been doing that for me recently. Whenever I need to yell, Cornell does it for me.
Yeah.
But it's like, again, it's just very important to the appearance of the gym. And not to harp on it, but like I put a lot of money into this place. Like I want you to treat it like it costs a lot of money because it did. Put things away is definitely number one, and number two would be to clean up your sweat and grime off the floor, which I
Yeah.
guess is kind of on the same.
The sweat
tone.
angels.
Sweat angels,
Yeah.
yeah. I thought that was a nice way to put it.
I think people are pretty good about that. I think we got them in a good habit of
Yeah.
putting stuff away.
Yeah.
But like last night, there was weird things out of place, and I don't even understand why they were out of place.
Do you think about that? You're like, what are you doing?
Why are those-
How are you driving home
Right.
if you can't put these dumbbells back?
Yeah.
Phew.
Or people that make, because you know my pet peeve, right? When people get multiple pieces of equipment, because their parachute.
I'm scaling.
Yeah.
Oh, I had to call some people out yesterday for that too. I was like, you know what Chris would say.
Yep. If you think you might have to scale mid wad, scale it now.
Yeah. Or stop whining and just do it.
Right. Pick one. Just pick one and go with it. Like,
Yes.
yeah, okay. Well, if it starts hurting, maybe you should just stop.
Yeah.
Like maybe we just go roll out or
Thank
ride the
you.
bike or
Oh
something.
my gosh,
Yeah.
but I have to finish. I'm
No,
like, it's
you
okay. None
don't.
of us are
Yeah.
going to the games. Like,
Right,
relax.
Right. And if we are, it's not tomorrow.
It's not tomorrow.
Fine.
Yeah,
Right.
it's 5 weeks from now.
Yeah, yeah.
So
You love,
true.
especially guys my age. You're like, man, my back. I'm like, man, I don't know if I should do this. Like, I got trapped by somebody yesterday because I look over and I was gonna scale the deadlift, right?
Oh, no.
And I look over and they're going RX. I'm like, all right, let me pull this. I'm like, no, I can do it. And then there I am RXing it, and like
Were you
round
hurting?
2, a little bit,
Yeah.
but I was okay. Like I
Yeah.
just had to cinch up the belt for the deadlift. Like,
Do you
and it
think
was okay.
so? This is a big thing for me. Do you think that that's like an ego thing, or do you think that's like I want to keep up with my peers kind of thing?
I think in a moment like that, it's
Yeah.
probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Plus the realization of like, no, you're fine. Like I
Yes.
know what my back problems
Yes,
are,
yes.
and they're manageable.
Right.
And it's just soreness because like mine kind of goes to like it hurts for a week, then I'm good for a month, and it hurts for a week. And it's kind of like sometimes. Because I know when something's wrong, and I'll be like,
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody else is doing.
I'm
I am
not
scaling
doing
this,
that,
and I'm
yeah.
scaling that, and I'm
Don't even
scaling
look
this.
at me.
Yeah, so I think I quickly can judge, like, okay, can I
Yeah.
stay within the stimulus or not? Which is, for everybody listening, the most important thing about a workout. Are you doing it in accordance with the stimulus?
Yes.
If I can go, okay, yes, I can finish in the time cap in this amount of time, yeah, I'm fine. Okay,
Mm. Yeah.
okay, cool. But if I know something's not right, I'm like, nah,
No,
whatever. Yeah.
See, that's what would be your biggest piece of advice to give people, like, on how to get to that point? Because I feel like a lot of people, not that people are egotistical, but I think a lot of people let their ego get in the way for
Yeah.
RX, and it's like I would think that I'm a very fit person in the gym, and I don't RX every workout
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
either.
I would say that you have to realize don't worry about getting there, because you may never get there,
may never
right?
get there.
You may be somebody that never played sports, you never
Yeah.
really worked out, you're 35 years old, who cares,
Yeah.
right? So just stick to the CrossFit basics. Move in layman's terms, move well 1st, and then we'll add intensity later.
Yeah.
Because like to me, the coolest thing is when that person that's never worked out,
Yeah.
maybe that stay-at-home mom or whatever, hasn't done anything in 10 or 15 years, gets their first pull-up.
Gosh.
That's like
You
awesome.
cry. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this. Yes.
Those are like the victories you like
Yeah.
are cool. Or like Lee last night. She's terrified of box jumps, but I had her jump into the small box, and she kind of she slipped once, and so she
Really?
wasn't. She starts doing step ups. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
I'm like,
you have
no.
to do
I
it,
said,
yeah.
let's do this and this, and I said, come on, you got it. And she got another one in.
Oh, my
and just little
gosh.
corrections, and then she's over there.
Yeah, that makes your heart sing.
Yeah.
That's why you do it. That's why you want to coach.
And so you ask, how do you get there? Like, well, a quick little scale. I said, look, because and I didn't tell her all this, but because of a time domain, I said, hey, don't do 15 box jumps, do 10.
Yeah.
So you get that work in, and she finished the workout.
Yeah.
And it was one of those cool moments where at the end,
with a smile.
yeah, well, we're at the end, like she didn't care that she's the last one to finish.
She did
She
it.
finished it, and it was old school. Like everybody came around and was cheering her on. And those are the moments. So like I guess just do the work and listen to your coach.
Yeah.
And intensity.
Listen to your coach.
Listen to your coach. And remember this: intensity beats volume every time.
Every day.
So if you scale and you go hard.
Yeah.
And then now all of a sudden, if you scale and you're beating the kind of the top dogs, what you would consider in the gym, then it's time to, maybe it's time I up my weight on my dumbbells and push towards RX on this. And, you don't have to RX or scale an entire workout.
No, exactly. Yeah, there's so many options.
Like a lot of times, like if we're doing box step ups, if it's not a comp or the open, I'm doing 20-inch step ups.
Yeah, who cares? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 5'8" in a low gravity zone. You know what I mean? With shoes on. So like whatever. Like, there's certain things that like, what are you really benefiting out of it? So like, who cares?
Knowing your goals and like what you're trying to get out of the gym. Yeah, I love that.
Because if you look at what your ultimate goal in here, and I tell people this, and I think I've only offended one person one time, is I said, why did you walk in this gym? Why you want to do this?
Yeah.
And it's because you want to look better naked.
Yeah.
And you want to be healthier.
Yeah, you want to
Bottom
be fitter,
line, right?
Yeah.
There's very few people that have probably walked into a CrossFit gym because they want to go to the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, agreed.
They're looking for another way to be fit, another way to look good, to get healthy, whatever that is. So just do that. So
Yeah.
if you put that aside and just realize that, or the RX aside and just focus on that,
Agreed.
just move. And you'll never see somebody scale and somebody comes up and be like, oh, you suck, you scaled. Everybody's like, hey,
Yeah,
good
you did a
job.
great
Right on,
job.
man. You're moving
Yes,
good. Like
yes.
we want to see you move good.
Yeah.
Getting your first pull up. Getting a box jump.
The best thing is like, and Quincy's a good example of this, of like just seeing people put in the work over time. And when you
Yes.
finally get the thing that
Yes.
you're wanting, like that's all we hope for you. It's not like we're trying to be like, mom or dad, like, no, don't do this. Like we're trying to get you to the point where we know you can safely do the thing that you want to do.
And speaking of Quincy, we'll wrap this up here in a second, but she actually drove all the way up here last
She
night on her way home.
told me.
And I turn around, she's standing there like
You're like, where
dance.
did you
She's
come
like
from?
sitting here like she had to pee or something. I'm like, what? And she's like, I came all the way over here. I got to show you this. And
I
she's
gotta
like,
tell
look at
you.
this. And she shows me her snatch.
It
edit.
looks really good,
And it's
too.
like, is it a world record? No, but for her
No.
it is.
Yeah.
It's a PR and it's a huge victory because
Yeah.
it's something she's been pushing for. So now that's just going to get better.
Yep.
And like, especially when I'm like, dude, that looked like easy.
It looked easy.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so
I
you
was
had
like,
a lot more. Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah, so like that's the coolest thing about coaching is seeing people's little victories.
love-
you
that's
know?
my favorite part.
That's the coolest part. Not
Yeah.
it's
ain't
obviously
the money.
it ain't the money, dude.
I'll tell you
So
that.
yeah, that doesn't even pay for my tattoos. So
Although you were my highest paid person
why'd
last
you tell
month.
everybody that?
Not like,
because
like-
of hours.
Yes,
Oh.
Yeah, I was telling someone this the other day. I was like, second to me, the person that's coached the most hours is Chris.
Yeah.
And I don't have another job. This is my job, so I'm
Yeah.
expected to be the most coached
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, but it's not over the top though when I really break it down.
No, that's what. Yeah, and I think that was also in May when we were at Simi. So like a lot of people were picking up other shifts, and I was like, my goodness, like.
Yeah, I did coach a lot that
You
week.
did, you
Like,
did.
I was here like every day.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, holy smokes! Like
Yeah.
you have 40 hours this week.
Yeah, that was a long week, but it wasn't that. Even then, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Because of my schedule, it's not like I'm going from one job to the next. I got a gap.
like really
in there.
pressed, yeah,
And we
that's
got
good.
and I'm excited to keep it rolling. So, I think we covered a lot already.
I know.
I know we definitely.
I feel a
talked
lot
more.
better
Yeah.
now. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I could do this again.
It's kind of fun, huh?
Yeah,
You just
yeah.
get to rant and rave about.
My
Yeah.
favorite.
Just wait. So,
Yeah.
Something I want to add though is what I want to do is eventually, so people know, I'll get the audio put out, and I'm learning how to do all this crap, right? I'll get it put on YouTube. But in the meantime, what I want people to do is you can either send it directly to Melissa, you can Instagram me and
questions,
ask.
what they wanna see?
I want a couple things. Tell me what topics you want to talk about, things you want to talk about. If you have an idea for guests, maybe I'll listen to you.
Ooh, maybe I'll listen.
But the biggest thing is I'll send me one question. 2, if you can't decide what you want to ask,
Yeah.
questions for Melissa.
Oh God.
It can be about her, okay? She may or may not answer. It could be about the gym. We will not take recommendations on what we should do. Like, I don't,
Oh my gosh, please don't do that.
Do not say
I don't want to hear somebody say everybody wants yoga. We're not doing
Yeah,
yoga.
we're not
If
doing-
we do
yeah.
yoga, I quit. I quit.
That's why we have skill and mobility.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
pretty much like, CrossFit yoga.
Yeah, so people, if you got questions for Melissa, something you want to ask her about her,
Yeah. Or the gym. Like,
yeah,
I'm
or the
pretty
gym.
much an open book. I'll tell you anything.
yeah, and hopefully people don't butcher us too bad, or I'll just turn the comments off.
Oh my
I might go
gosh.
with the Joe Rogan rule: don't read the comments.
Don't read the comments.
Don't read the
I know. I'm
comments.
going to read them.
Oh,
I,
yeah.
I try not to
I
think
say
that
I
I'm-
won't, but I'll start scrolling,
I'll
yeah.
be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Nothing like. My dad has a really hard time with this. He has to be liked. It's really upsetting. That
Everybody
no one likes
wants
him.
to be liked.
It's true, but like separating that from like you as the person and like
Yeah.
what they're saying.
Yeah.
Please don't say anything. Like if you need to say something mean, just tell me to my face.
Right.
That would just
See, I'd rather
matter.
you say it behind my back so you don't
Really?
hurt my feelings.
Chris doesn't want to cry in front of you.
No, I don't want to. Yeah. I'm an emotional. I'm
Emotional
soft.
guy.
I'm soft. I don't.
No,
so,
I just want to be floored in person. Like
yeah. Direct, get it done, move
yeah.
on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's
Some
just
people
get-
can't handle
let's
that
cut
though.
through it. I'm done.
Yeah.
It's
Some
true.
people can't handle it. Like I guarantee you, some people are offended by your PSAs.
Oh yeah. I'm
But-
doing another one soon, so
Yeah.
stay tuned.
All right.
We're gonna get a
All right,
PSA.
and we'll do this. I think every time too. Quick update. How many members do we have?
So between the two of them, we're sitting at 220.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Some of that's a little bit of fluff. Like some of that's coaches, and some of that's like punch cards, which we don't consider members, but pretty good number. We've had a real big influx in the last couple of weeks, so that's a really good thing.
Okay. Have you figured out what's bringing people in?
When I ask them, I'm just looking for a gym in the area. And Harborview helps a lot. Like the area here is growing a lot. And then when they hear we have a second location, they're like, whoa.
People get excited.
Yeah.
They think opportunity.
Yeah.
That has been something I've noticed. People when I tell people that come by here, hey, well, we haven't, and they're like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
For whatever reason, even if it's closer or not,
Yeah.
they're like, okay, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So
So we didn't get into semifinals too much. So I
Yeah.
think what we'll do is we'll save that for the next podcast.
okay.
We'll
gotta
we'll talk about
rehash
that.
it.
Yeah. I think it's been long enough. You're probably
yeah, I mean, I'm not over it like it was a bad thing, but I can talk about it and not feel some type of way.
Yeah. All right. So let's close it out. I'm gonna go home and get something to eat before I work out later. So
Yeah. You don't coach this
No.
afternoon?
no, just
I gotta
working
go
out.
to the other gym and coach. So
Okay.
and I have 10 people coming in for a free assessment. So,
Over there.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's gonna be
Keep your
fun.
fingers crossed. The Lord will do
10
it.
people? Are they a group?
A group. They came from another, like a kickboxing gym that's closing down. And special shout out. One is my superintendent from Allen Myers. I cannot wait to hurt him.
Oh boy. All
Not
right.
in a mean way, but
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, we'll wrap it up. So that's our first All Grit podcast.
Dang.
We'll have to come up with a slogan.
I know we need a cool.
Yeah, I thought
we
of
need a
something
cool
earlier, but I think
slogan.
it's stupid.
Stupid.
Like some like stay gritty.
We have an oyster sitting up here. Oh my gosh, how embarrassing.
Yeah. So we'll have to come up with something.
Let me
so,
write that down.
Yeah.
It's a cool slogan.
Yeah.
Dang. Well, all right. Until next time.
All right, buddy.
I love
All right.
this
So
fun.
bye, you guys. Once I get it up on YouTube, I'll have to get used to saying these like things quickly, but hit those like buttons.
Yeah.
You can
like
share
us.
it, share the post. I think it'll be cool. Get the name of the gym out there and give you all something to listen to. And if you guys like it, we'll keep doing it because, yeah,
I enjoy doing it. Yeah.
I'll just blabber all freaking
I
day
can
about
talk
crap.
all day.
So yeah, all right. Well, maybe even get to non-CrossFit topics too.
See, I could do that.
Right.
I think we could. I
Yeah,
think we
like
could.
submarines and alien invasions and
Maybe not alien invasions, but like homemade submarines. Bad idea.
bad idea. So,
God.
all right. We'll talk to you guys later.
Till
Have a good
next
day.
time.
All right, bye.